What are you asking me for what I'm doing? When you both tell me what you're doing. What are you doing? Oh, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, global population, Sam Fisher here, say hello, Will.
I'm almost 13.
He's almost 30, against 13 next week. Oh dear. What? Oh yeah, nice sky. Anyway, yeah, so, anyone who's an alternative researcher of history, or ancient history.
Oh yeah, yesterday.
What?
Yesterday was Mummy's birthday.
Yeah. It was Mrs. Fisher's birthday yesterday. But any of us on the fringes, shall we say, of the ancient history field know full well the importance of the biblical narrative. And whereas the mainstream academia would rather poo-poo and belittle and write off most of the Bible as myth or allegory, they can't always get away with that. Very often, something comes along that completely knackers them up. Now, let's get a couple of things straight. First of all, I'm not religious, yeah? I can recognise the value of the biblical narrative as a historical record. There's plenty of evidence out there that proves it. Second, I have no dog in this fight going on in Israel at the moment. But we are going to touch, dog fight, yeah. But we are going to touch on that. So I'm not pro-Israel, I'm not pro-Palestinian, I'm pro-civilian. Yeah, the people that are stuck in the middle.
Dad.
That's what you should be. What?
Do a barrel roll.
No, just go play. Those are who you should be backing, really, at the end of the day. This episode, as well, wasn't actually going to be about what was going on in Israel. At all, in any way, shape or form. I was going to go back to Ukraine and start on the war. Pardon me. The war that ended Arata. Because I think it's important. You see, Arata's eventual demise was foretold long before its founding. It was basically set in stone before, long before its founding. That began in Doggerland. A good 20,000 years beforehand.
You said you
were
born in 1960.
I wasn't born in 1960. Cheeky bugger. Well then, all this kicks off in Israel. And it kind of drew me to some things that I think needed addressing, really, because now I'm not saying this is the cause, but there's things that line up that they're trying to cause another war to cover something up again, cover up yet more discoveries. And if it kicks off major style in Israel, then I'll know for certain that that's why it's kicking off like it is in Israel.
Israel's 9/11.
Shush, Will. Now, there's been several discoveries, you see, over the past few years that have kind of put a spanner in the works for our system, our controllers, or wannabe controllers, should I say.
You stand on the Pringles.
Oh no! I've really put a spanner in the works, and pardon me. One of them is the discovery of Sodom. They think they found Sodom. biblical city that was destroyed, where Lot lived. It's Abraham's grandson. His wife was turned to a pillar of salt. But there's also been other very sort of surprising finds. Whole cities out in the desert, they weren't even sure they were there. We were quite surprised to find them.
This video is not sponsored by Pringles.
It's not, no. And then there's the ancient city street, ancient Jerusalem street that they found, where Jesus may have walked. They said 2,000 years old, far below the surface. They've also found a lot of things near the Dome of the Rock. Now these have been very rapidly covered up, and for good reason. See, they're not really supposed to be digging around there, and yet they do. They do. And I think what they've been finding is frightening. Mostly because it's not what they're expecting to find. See, this is a problem when you start messing with history. You start denying people access to real information. When academics come to find stuff that is way out of place, it frightens them. It frightens them a great deal. Because they can't understand it. It shouldn't be there. Israel's another place where there's, well, Jerusalem, shall we say, is another place where there's a heck of a lot of catacombs below the ground. Lots and lots of areas where magical rites have been used and performed. Certain rituals have been done. Certain people have been killed. Another nice little sort of things like that. Take Golgotha the cave, everyone knows about that. Looks like a skull. Golgotha means basically skull. Or dwelling of the skull, I think, something like that. It used to be a sacrificial centre to Pan. Now, Pan is linked to Dionysus. Dionysus is linked to Janus. Janus is linked to Uranus and Kronos, and you know, you get the general sort of gist. Saturnian in a great many ways. They've been finding a lot of evidence for crucifixions going on there, and of course all the Christians are losing shit. A proof of Christ? Well, no, not necessarily. See, the one thing that they don't really understand is that the crucifixion is a metaphor for something else that is also a metaphor for something else. It has a lot of similarities to Odin, the legend of Odin, when he was trying to gain the wisdom of Fenrir, which is the giant snake that lives at the bottom of the world tree. And there's an old seer that's down at the bottom of there. So to get his attention, he kills himself and hangs himself from the world tree, which is the tree that holds our realm and everyone else's realm. And he hangs himself there, waiting for the old seer to recognise him and notice him. And this has a lot of connotations with, again, like I said, with the biblical crucifixion, but also ancient stories, ancient Celtic stories, and ancient sort of Babylonian stories and Slavic. The list goes on and on and on and on, and you start to put a picture together that maybe this was some sort of real event. This was also where Odin got his first visions of Ragnarok. This is the end of the world for the Vikings, for the Norse. and an event that's been predicted by every single ancient culture there is known to man. It also started off a chain of events that was going to lead up to Ragnarok at some point, and still is. We're still on that pathway. You see, back in ancient times, I mentioned this before, that kingship was a very different sort of animal. Goddess covens were in control, and chaos resounded across the globe. These women were doing all sorts of stuff. Greater power, greater wisdom. They invited something in. An age-old being from the abyss. Something that Thoth talks about. Stuff that even fictional authors like Isaac Asimov talk about, or H.P. Lovecraft. That these cults summoned in this being. Now, back in those days, believe it or not, we were just as technologically advanced, if not more so than today. A lot of the ideas that are coming out, or have been coming out since World War II, have been largely rediscovered. And this is because they've been discovering ancient tech all over the globe. The older stuff, like I said, being in the Black Sea and around the UK, and it's looking further north as well. It was during Doggerland that the Tablets of Destiny were created, and the weapon that they controlled. That weapon being a Black Knight satellite that people have seen up in the sky. It's actually a bit of a misnomer, that name. It's not actually black, it's green. Deep green. Which confuses people. It also looks nothing like a knight. I don't know why they call it a Black Knight, they just do. But anyway, that's a weapon of immense power. And like I said, the Tablets of Destiny control that. Now, these changed hands several times. It very likely could have been used several times. Not just on Earth either. So there's certain aspects of our solar system that are very anomalous, shall we say. Not all sort. What? Oh yeah, very good. Oh, going over there, go on. Very anomalous, and not all that easy to explain. This being one of them. Iapetus. That's a moon. One of Saturn's moons. Saturn's a very strange place. But it's one of Saturn's moons. Now, notice anything weird about it. That's the sun behind it. That's not a sort of a knackered photo, shall we say. That's its actual shape. Yeah.
That's a large puddle.
Pardon me. It is, yeah, they've got a new lake there now, haven't they? That's its actual shape. It also, comically enough, looks like this. It's the Death Star, yeah. Oh, wait, shouting, what? Look at them, side by side. Here, like these. See what I mean? Well, okay, can't go on the slide, Keenock. Go on then, we'll have a walk round then, shall we? Now, many people will turn around and say, well, it's aliens, it's bound to be, it's got to be, it's got to be, it's got to be. Why? Why does it have to be? Every single ancient myth, legend that has been attributed to ancient aliens can also be attributed to ancient humans. We've always been at war with each other. Always. It's like we can't resist it.
Oh, mud.
Aye. Go on, keep going. And sometimes we almost wipe each other out. And others we don't. We just keep going. The times we almost wipe each other out is when we get thrust back into the Stone Age and we lose all the technology that we once had. And I think we've done this time and time and time again.
Ghost warning.
Aye. Not just for hundreds of thousands of years. Oh, shut up, you hissy bastard. Bah! Not just for hundreds of thousands of years. Not just for millions of years. And this might be quite hard for some of you to stomach. We're talking billions here. Billions and billions of years. Well, go and sit there.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll sit here for a minute. Is it wet? No.
The voices are here.
Oh, they're coming over, right, we'll carry on. Bloody geese. Noisy buggers. Yeah, we've done this for billions of years.
Why are they coming afterwards?
Now, most of you are going to say, yeah, but there's no evidence for that. You can't really... You see, this is a problem. And I've seen this mentioned by countless academics all over the place, right? Some of them are starting to get the gist, yeah? Any trace of that civilization will be gone. You won't find ruins, right? It's that simple. There may be tiny traces of them lying around all over the place, here and there. There might be nuclear material that they find. There might be some kind of small, sort of somewhat insignificant artifact that just is found just at random. Certain rock strata. So I mentioned the oblong tubes before, yeah, that they found in France. I mentioned the little spheroids, yeah, that they found in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, they're leaving.
They are, yeah. All of them are billions of years old. The Vedic texts, which are probably some of the most complete. Yeah, ancient mythologies.
A plane.
Next to Norse. Describe humanity as being here for billions of years also. We live through cycles where we have ages of where we have complete longevity in lifespan, totally enlightened spiritually and intellectually, and we slowly fall over time. Kind of like something else. Fall of man in the Bible.
There's ducks here.
Even the Bible talks about stuff like this, yeah? The Sumerian Innumerable List talks about stuff like this. Time before. When humans were closer to the Creator. A lot more wise. A lot more benevolent. And then something happened that threatened to destroy that. This is the same thing that began the trajectory that we're on today, around 50,000 years ago. You see, the Sumerians talk about a war between three kingdoms.
Soccer.
One of them being Aratta.
Soccer.
One of them being a Proto-Egypt. And another one coming from the north, which is Marduk.
No.
And it's between Marduk, Inanna and Nergal. Now Inanna was the queen of Aratta. I mentioned this a lot.
No.
Oh yeah, we're not going that way. We haven't got a dog with us for a start. None of these three rulers were particularly nice people. Yeah? But they were all fighting over these tablets. Now Inanna, although absolutely evil, had the good sense to think, I can't let my brothers, either of them, get hold of these. She had to hide them. Which is why I think she hid them in the Black Sea. Beneath there. Because, basically...
Why is there many more trees cutting down?
Because they are. Apparently they're all sick. Like, they're all dying anyway. Anyway. To keep it close by, somewhere where she could at least know where it was, keep an eye on it and keep it very well hidden. She filled the Black Sea. She allowed it to be filled and she used that gravity pump to do it. This also completely decimated her empire, her kingdom, yeah? The Rata became no more. She was taken captive. The rest is basically history. The first indications of there ever being something there was that pyramid off the coast of Sevastopol in Crimea. But there's more, far more than that. From where that pyramid is, in a crescent moon shape, going out, are 6 more. Getting very gradually smaller. When you look on Google Earth, not far off the coast of Ukraine, you see these structures here.
Why is there a plane going down?
It's not going down, it's just travelling over the horizon. You see these structures. I think one of them may be an entrance. It's now buried under thousands of feet of water. Across Ukraine, like I said before, there are countless catacombs all over the place. They're now allowing people to go into the Odessa catacombs, and I think that's because whatever was there has been found, or whatever they've been looking for, they've realised isn't there, and allowed them to be open. Those under Chernobyl are still closed off. There has always been an army presence around that area, stopping people from getting in. Why is that? This is why. The amount of paranormal activity around that whole area is just unbelievable. The amount of strange happenings during that whole Chernobyl event is also very strange. Little pockets here and there being completely untouched by the radiation, or entire areas being in low radiation zones, and every living thing, that plant life has just been completely decimated. And that being the only area. The village of Kapachi being buried for what reason? It's all to do with these catacombs. All to do with these towns and city complexes that would have been above ground at least 20,000 years ago. And the passage of time has covered them over with sediment and all sorts of other stuff. How do we know this? Because of Israel. Because that city street is only 2,000 years old, that Jesus would have walked on, apparently. It was above ground 2,000 years ago, yet it's about 100 feet underground now. Now imagine how far down something that was above ground 20,000 years ago would be. They found stuff in Israel, I know that for sure. If it kicks off and the whole country's at war, most definitely they found something. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Most definitely. We'll go back home, yeah. Anyway. What do you say?
Dad?
No, I'm Dad.
We need an intro.
Don't need a... This is an outro. Like, share.
Subscribe, you know the drill. See you later.
Okay.
control them even better by giving them the else. Battle lines are drawn. Choices will have to be made. I have made my choice. What is yours?